Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Weren't you in a spoken word art thing in college?
Yeah.
What was it called?
It was the 5-Star Arts Collective.
5 stars? 5 stars, like how I can rate our podcast, This Filipino American Life, on iTunes?
Yeah. Sure.
Have you rated our podcast on iTunes yet?
I haven't. Sorry.
What? What's,
I don't even subscribe. Sorry.
what? Oh my gosh, Ryan,
Blasphemy.
have you subscribed?
I have subscribed.
Have you rated us
I
on
have
iTunes?
not rated
Maybe
on
you
iTunes.
should do
I
that.
will do that.
I have a 5-star Converse.
Can you rate us on iTunes too, Joe?
Yeah, of
All right,
course.
cool.
Cool. So 5 stars, like how you rate your Lyft and Uber driver, 5 stars.
Sometimes.
So you should always rate them 5 stars.
Please rate us 5 stars because the more reviews we have, the more good reviews we have, we're gonna have more. It'll be easier for people to search us on iTunes.
Correct. And it's not like the only thing will come up is how to learn Tagalog.
Yeah. So far, if you Google or if you go on iTunes and search for Filipino, we are the 3rd podcast that you find. We want to be number 1.
We're number 1. We're number 1.
We do not want to be behind how to learn Tagalog.
Oh no.
Oh, yes. So rate us 5 stars, like Mike's 5-star Arts Collective.
Or else I'll do some spoken word next time.
Oh, no.
No.
Please, with these brown hands, do not do spoken word. But give us 5 stars.
Thank you.
My secret, just do something that ain't nobody ever done before, but make it sound like something that's always been there forever.
This Filipino American Life is a podcast that explores the nuanced experiences of Filipinos in the United States at iba pa. My name is Ryan Carpio. I'm joined by my fellow hosts
Joe Bernardo.
Elaine DeLawless.
and
My.
Producer Mike.
oh,
You're just tapping on your phone like crazy person.
before we get started, we want to give a shout out to our TFAL pan of the episode.
And that is Jonathan Sethna.
Hey,
Jonathan.
Woo! He also ordered a Balut Club shirt.
He did?
So he's
Oh
a
my
super
By the way,
fan.
this Balut Club shirt thing is like
It's kind of,
hotcakes. It's like hotcakes.
kind of bonkers, kind of insane. We have a wait list. I'm getting to the wait list as soon as I can.
Yeah.
But thank you to everybody who has ordered a shirt. I'm trying to send it out as quickly as I can. We were able to send the Mark Caleb Fund money, so that's the most important part. And the bonus is TJ Perkins from the WWE posted this shirt and
Yeah.
also did a donation to the Mark Caleb Fund. So that
Nice.
is pretty sweet. So thank you to TJ Perkins for doing that.
JP.
Was that your
That's my announcer voice. I guess. I don't know.
I was like,
I was looking up on YouTube like TJ Perkins, and I guess more people call him TJP.
yes.
Yeah.
Do it in Chick Hearn style. I don't know what that would be. The jello is jiggling.
This game is in the refrigerator. The door's out, the lights closed. The butter's getting hard, and the jello is jiggling.
Wow, Laker fan.
High five, high five.
I think I skipped the line though.
But I'm still.
The eggs are cooling, the butter's getting hard, and the jello is jiggling.
Is that like a sports thing? What are you guys talking
EA
about?
Sports.
No lo comprendo.
Oh, yes. And we also need to give a shout out to Jason Lastina from Brown Baked Desserts for dropping off these amazing cookies.
Really good.
So good. He gave us these cookies, ube crinkle cookies, ube Oreo cookies, buko pandan, toron, which is freaking amazing, calamansi, and then exclusive, which is the bibingka one, new recipe. These are the best cookies you will ever taste. I cannot talk. I had an Insta story about the cookies where I legit like orgasmed on the video about how delicious it is. So get these cookies. It's at brown.baked on Instagram, and if you look Brown Baked on Brown Bake or Brown Bake Desserts on Facebook, you can find it. Jason's based out of the San Fernando Valley, so you can always contact him and he delivers, and it's amazing.
Does he do mail order?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Okay.
We'll find out.
Well, we can
Wait.
find out.
The crinkle ones and the non-crinkle ones are two different things?
So the crinkle ones are these ones. It's ube with like sugar, like
Oh
powdered
my
sugar
gosh,
around
okay.
it. And the ube Oreo is the one where half of it has white chocolate and then Oreo on top.
All of this is to say I gotta try the other one because I don't try. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've had too
Delicious.
many already, so I need to like
Mike looks a little sick.
take a little. Yeah.
These are diabetes cookies.
Oh, our people.
Okay, so getting into the episode, Joe, what are we talking about today?
I think we're going to talk about Filipino associations.
What?
Yeah.
PAs? FAs?
XAs?
PHAs? Sorry.
Filipino associations. They are all abundant in the community.
Are they?
Yeah.
Still?
Yes, they are. Regional associations, religious associations.
Oh, okay.
Organizations that try to unite other organizations. Filipinos just love organizing.
And associating.
Would you say that
and counseling.
TFAL is its own Filipino association?
I don't know. We're definitely a group, but I guess I'm talking about associations that actually incorporate in whatever state that you're in, and they have dinner dances, and our parents are involved with that. And,
So you're saying we need to have a dinner dance. So you're saying we need to sell raffle tickets.
Oh my god, you gotta sell those chits or whatever they were called.
Like, how many tickets do I need to sell so I can be the TFAL queen?
Oh.
That's how it works, though.
It is.
That's pretty much how it works.
So they say when a lot of Koreans get together, you build a church. When a lot of Chinese people get together, you build a restaurant. When Filipinos get together, they develop associations. I think my friend told me that joke one time.
High five
But
to your friend.
Brendan
what
Joe.
are your what are your experiences with Filipino associations?
Ryan?
Right.
My parents never joined any coming to the States. We never really had their outlet was church. So I guess that's part of like an association, right? In its own thing, but not really like village types or province types of associations. I grew up in the city. They both grew up in the city in Manila and Quezon City in the Philippines. So actually, we never really had like a provincial ties, or at least I didn't.
Was there a Filipino association of your church, a Holy Trinity?
Not well,
really.
they were like the charismatic prayer group.
Like
Okay,
most
yeah,
of
the
them
rosary
were,
group.
El Shaddai?
and most of them, they were just part of the. They had like the early morning
the
choir.
I don't know.
No, it wasn't
Black Rosary.
yeah, but there's different associations there, like different devotions. But theirs was like, they were the 7:30 mass choir, and most of them were Filipino, and but nothing really that was kind of like what we're talking about today is mostly the associations that are related to things back home in the Philippines, like your certain neighborhoods and your kababayans, like the literal kababayans, like in your town.
Yeah.
But I do know some folks who are involved in that, and folks from different parts of the Philippines who come here and they meet their neighbors or their sisters and cousins of neighbors in the Philippines that they had. So, but I never grew up around it, never had to sell raffle tickets or anything.
How about you, Mike?
So my family was pretty heavily involved in our hometown association, which is the town of Miagao, Iloilo. Shout out to Miagao Association of California.
That was almost automatic.
Yeah.
You were so trained.
I mean, honestly, it was like a really big part of our lives, especially when I was in high school. I mean, I think they were both on, the board or like at least at an events committee of some kind or another. So there were like 3 chapters that I can remember. There was like one in like kind of the LA Long Beach area. There's one in San Diego, one in San Francisco. And they would have those annual dinner dances, and they would kind of rotate amongst those kind of 3 locations. But yeah, I mean, it was partly because like a lot of them were either, like family or like close family friends from back home. Or it was just kind of a way to really kind of just get everyone together in one place because they were so spread out across California. But yeah, it was a pretty significant part of our lives, and I mean, and it still exists in some form or another. It's not as big as it used to be, but I think at its peak, I mean, it was a couple hundred people involved. Doing those annual events. Was an annual fiesta that was supposed to coincide with like our town's fiesta. There were a lot of like just overall like kind of random family parties here and there. Sometimes they were fundraisers for those big events, where they would have like these big like massive like kind of mahjong meetups. And like the what is it like I forgot was it the tong or the something I forgot what it was, but like
yeah, tong is like the rake or like their
yeah.
fee.
So the tong would go towards the hometown
It's
association.
the house fee.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I learned something new.
Oh,
So,
you didn't know
yeah.
that?
Nah.
I knew that too.
As opposed to tutong, which is the thing under the rice that they're hard to Sorry.
That joke.
All right. Yeah, thanks.
But yeah, it's definitely a big part of our lives, and I mean, and I was involved in different ways, just as like going to the events or being.
Did you DJ?
No, I did not DJ.
Oh, I'm surprised.
And actually, this could be a whole nother podcast. But I mean, one of the things that I remember from that era that I don't know if it exists anymore were like kind of these random like Filipino cover bands that would cover like even songs like Toro Toro and like whatever, like kind of disco songs. But it was like instead of having the DJ, you have the band kind of do all of those songs in some kind of like And so I'm pretty sure I have it on video, but it was just like, who are these people that they dug up to like do this music? And I guess that was kind of a feature of at least Filipino events during the 90s, if anything. So
yeah, my parents were involved. Well, not really involved, but I remember three associations. One was the provincial one, which was called Misa Misnon. The second was the Osa Misnon for the city that my parents were from. And then my dad was a part of this Orquieta one, which was another city because he grew up in like two different towns. And I just remember we would go to like these picnics, and then my parents used to go to dinners, which there was no kids allowed, so I didn't go, thankfully. And they were involved because like for the provincial one and Osamisnon, it was because like my dad was friends with the president. So like the guy would be like, hey, come to this, blah, blah, blah. My dad's like, all right, I'm your friend, I'll go. And then for the one where we went to this like picnic in Balboa Park in San Diego, which was like so freaking far from the valley, I was like 12. I didn't know anybody, but my dad seemed to know everyone at this picnic. Like he would say what's up and he would talk to them and glad handle all these people that they were all from one of the towns he grew up in. So I just remember being really bored because my mom didn't know anybody either because she didn't grow up in that town. So I just sit there like bored out of my mind, and I was really shy. So I wouldn't like want to talk to these stranger kids because I was like, who the hell are you? I don't know you. And I figured it was like, I was like 10 or 11 or 12. So like you're in that awkward stage where like you're not cool, and it wasn't fun. Yeah. And then when my dad's friend like was no longer president, they stopped going to the dinners. And I think now sometimes like they would buy like the Manny Pacquiao fight, and my dad would go. And so it would be like all the same Misa known people or Osa known people, and then like they'd just hang out. But it wouldn't be a dinner dance anymore because I think they were tired of organizing it. They like go to like a house party.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to do those events. And I mean, like if the kids weren't helping out, because mostly it was like the parents. Like I think it just, it was just like such a huge undertaking that nobody had the time after a while or the money really.
Yeah. I remember when I was like maybe in high school, some uncle hit me up to be like, hey, do you want to be queen of the dinner dance? And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, all you do is sell these tickets. I'm like, what? So I went to my dad and I was like, Dad, uncle is trying to get me to sell these tickets. What do I say to him? He's like, don't do it. Like, you just don't even bother. I'm like, all right. So I just walked away, and then my uncle was just like, how come you're not doing this? I'm like, because my dad said I didn't have to, and I don't want to sell these stupid tickets. I already had enough trouble fundraising for like high school selling world's finest chocolates. Like, what?
And that's sweet.
Like it was so hard.
How about you, Joe?
My parents were not involved. My mom was involved a little bit with the Los Angeles Filipino American Filipino Association of City Employees, aka LaFace.
Yeah.
LaFace.
So good, baby
That's
LaFace.
Cool. Are there shirts? Are there jackets?
Every time I
Close my eyes.
Every time, guys. Come on.
What? What do you mean?
He said baby LaFace. We had to.
So I think she was involved with like it 1 year, and I went to a dinner dance, and then Tom Bradley was actually there.
What?
So I got a
The
picture.
quarterback?
With Tom Brady, Tom Bradley.
Tom Bradley.
The former mayor of Los Angeles
the
for
longest
20 years.
serving mayor of Los Angeles.
Yeah, I think he was the first African American mayor
Big Tom.
of a big city.
LAX International Tom Bradley Terminal.
Yeah. So I met him when I was a kid. And then my dad just was never involved. He always say, like, I remember one time I was asking, how come you're not involved with the associations? And my dad says, because they don't do anything.
It's so funny you said, because I was going to ask, what would their purposes be? Like, I didn't actually.
I have no idea what the purpose was.
So there's a lot of purposes for these associations. Well, I mean, it also depends on
like who's starting it and
who's starting it. Well, yeah. Hometown associations, for example, they raise money to do like
Send
certain
back
civic
home.
projects back home. Like, so sometimes when you go to the hometown, you'll see like a new sign says "Welcome to Misa Mis Oriental," whatever.
Yeah.
Sponsored by
Misa Mis Association
Of the
USA.
United
Of
States.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's also a way for like new immigrants to, I guess, acculturate to the United States. They find friends. They find townmates. But it's also a way for Filipino American immigrants who, for one reason or another, because they're, marginalized within the United States, they're not really acclimated to the political system here. It's a way to take up leadership roles. So a lot of people become involved because they have, there's a sense of power in there, a sense of like responsibility, gives them something to do. And and they love doing the whole dinner dance because it's like, it's like throwing a party. It's fun.
Right.
Supposedly it's fun.
It feels like there's a template, right? It's
Yeah.
like dinner dance.
Yeah.
Pageantry.
There
If you
is.
see the program, it's like national anthem.
Right.
And
Sometimes it's like a
then-
town song. We have a town song.
A town song?
Yeah.
There's a town
Wow.
song.
We
Do
have
you
one
know it?
anyways. I don't remember it. I mean,
I'm like, we
you
should
see
go
it?
to one event.
I've been to a lot of
Like
them.
as a TFAL group.
Yeah.
I mean, you say there's a template. Is there like an origin to that in some way, or like who kind of set the foundation for that?
I mean, I think a lot has to do with I'm totally conjecturing, and I know there's a study out there by Rick Bonus who looks at associations, but it's a lot mimicked by, or it mimics American organizational, like how organizations are run in
Like
in,
Lions
like,
Club
United
and
States.
Kiwanis? Or?
Something like that, or
Or like
Masons? Yeah, like Masons.
Masons, or like just town hall meetings. Like they have certain like if you go to some of those meetings in association, like the board meetings, they do everything by Robert's rules. They conduct the meetings that way.
I propose that we start this meeting today.
Let's start by going over the minutes from the last one.
I second that we can do that.
And then everybody has to be president, right? And there's always drama during elections.
Someone embezzled it, all the money.
And it's sometimes like
every time.
there are sometimes where me and Ryan,
Yeah.
we would interact with people from these organizations, and they always like presented themselves as the president of the Filipino American Association of Marianelli,
Right.
of Los Angeles, USA, of Southern California and vicinity.
Wow, that is very broad,
And I bet it's very real.
Yes.
and I bet it's only two people.
The card you have to flip over to complete the title. It says over. Oh, and vicinity.
Comma et al.
Well, so when you would interact with those people, would you go to their events and kind of see how that?
Sometimes, at least in our former capacities, we would go there and present like certificates from the city or something like that.
Congratulatory.
Yeah. So I guess how the program runs during these dinner dances, there's national anthem, there's remarks by the president, like a welcome address.
Okay.
And then there's
Is there a priest
presentations Oh yeah. Well, there's presentations, and then before you eat, there's the
priest.
in invocation by the priest or whoever's religious in that,
Yeah.
that thing, and then they would have if it's like a beauty pageant part, they would have the parade all the daughters of people, the families.
Did they sell
And
the
then
most tickets?
Whoever sold the most tickets
Is the
winner. And then they would have the passing of officers.
Yes.
Yeah, so they would like do the swearing in of new officers.
Yes.
And then always at the bottom in capital letters it says dance.
No, Joe. It doesn't say dance. It says sayaw. Because that is the thing that I remember from this program.
Fun.
And then in the program book, it looks like the end of a yearbook.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
There's
the-
a bunch of ads.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another way if there's associations like they advertise their businesses,
Yeah.
dental offices.
We should buy a bunch of ads in Hometown Association.
It's just a bunch of our pictures.
Like TFAL congratulates blah 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 blah.
Association and
But
vicinity.
to be clear, this is not an offer to all the hometown associations right now to like hit us up for ads.
We don't have money.
Yeah,
sorry.
we don't have that kind of money.
But if you want to advertise on TFAL, you can go ahead.
If there is a hometown association that would like to front like have an ad, we would totally say that.
Ours also had like some cultural kind of dance thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
kind of like PCN.
Yeah.
Like public cultural
like a
night style.
program show.
Yeah, like someone would come and do the tinikling, or they would do the candle dance, almost kind of like it was like a debut or something. But
Yeah.
Would someone sing too?
yeah, there was always someone singing some
Ballad?
Bette Midler or like Celine Dion song. Or,
What? What Bette Midler
That's
song?
true.
Wind beneath my wing. Come on.
Or like the Titanic song.
from the beaches.
How does that song go, Ryan?
I don't know. Ask Vince Scully. What? He sang it.
I know, but
He sang two
horribly.
verses of it. Two. He should have. My friend Tom's like, he should have stopped at one. I don't know why he went for
Sang the whole song, all verses.
Hey, I paid $1.29 for that song. It is on my phone right now.
Oh, God. Anyways,
And then when you go there, it's like everybody's dressed to the nines. Men are either in suits or barongs, and women are in their
Ball gowns.
Filipinianas.
or like their sparklets. I always call it sparklets dresses.
It's like bedazzled to the max, right? Yeah. And it's so funny because sometimes, greeting them, you don't know how to hug them because they kept moving.
You just kiss them on the cheek.
they cut you with the shoulder blade things too.
Or they like get stuck on you. Like,
You kiss on the cheek, and there's all this makeup on your cheek now.
Man. Wait, so Elaine, you never did the pageant thing?
Nope.
So, and none of you were like involved in any of those things?
No, but I went to a winter formal with my friend who was a
queen or a princess?
You're the
Yeah.
escort?
No. I was an escort for the association, but like I was actually friends with her, and I invited to a school dance. But then one day my friends were over and they saw like the program of my friend, and she was on the cover, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're gonna go out with a beauty pageant winner, a beauty queen."
Mike, weren't you involved in the
Oh, God.
hometown
I was like,
association?
when is this going to come up? Yes, I was actually.
Mike, did you sell tickets?
I didn't sell tickets. I was just kind of the escort of the queen at the time.
What was your outfit when you had to escort the queen?
It was a
Mike?
white tux with a gold cummerbund.
There's gotta be pictures. You gotta have pictures.
There are
There's
tons
pictures
of pictures.
in a very, very interestingly produced video that I have somewhere in the archives that I
Really?
converted to DVD. If you guys,
Seriously?
I'm not gonna post it online or anything, but I mean, you guys can see it if you want.
Okay, can we use the picture for our post
the blog post?
Yeah,
blog
okay,
post?
sure, okay, fine. But like, yeah, so like, I was
feel like
the
we
escort.
won. I don't know what we won, but we won.
We
And so
won a
like,
really good
like
picture.
later that same year, like I guess it was like an anniversary of the church in our hometown, because it's like a hundreds and hundreds of year old Spanish church, and so there was a parade, and I was on a float in the parade wearing like a tux
Wearing a
in the
white
Philippines,
tux.
like with the queen
Wearing a white
doing the,
tux.
like doing the
With a
the wave.
gold cummerbund. Did you have a gold bow tie?
It was just such a weird experience, because like we were going through all the barangays and stuff, and it was kind of like people staring at me like, who the fuck is this guy? Why does he get to be on a float? Like
Did you have a high top fade?
I had the bangs, that's for sure.
Yes.
Man.
I've seen this picture, guys. It's amazing.
Oh,
Oh,
dude.
God.
It's the
Anyways.
best.
And there's more than just like hometown associations.
Yes.
Back in the 20s and 30s, they had all these different kinds of associations too. Like the Manongs had like all the fraternal organizations.
Is that like Masons?
Yeah, like the Caballeros de Masalang.
Whoa.
And they also did have like hometown associations. They're involved in labor unions and all this other religious organizations.
Well, like in Oxnard, we had my parents were involved in a bunch of the other like non-hometown ones. Like,
Yeah.
there was one for like Filipinos in the Navy that was called, I think, Pinoys. I don't know what it was stood for, but it was like an acronym for something.
I'm sure the N stood for Navy.
Yeah, and then there was like also
and vicinity.
There's one that in vicinity. Another one that still exists, I think, is called FCVCI, Filipino Community of Ventura County Incorporated, or something like that.
Oh.
And that one's still around too, and they do a lot of events.
Why
But
does it have to be incorporated?
I don't know. I guess that's just the
Because it
acronym.
sounds cool. It's like and vicinity.
But yeah, it was kind of like that. And that was kind of like what you were saying earlier, kind of like almost like not an umbrella, but it was like meant to kind of encapsulate kind of the entirety of like Filipinos in the
Yeah.
county and stuff. So.
And I think when it's incorporated, it's kind of a sense of it's official because it's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
incorporated in the state of
The state.
California or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we should be TFAL Incorporated?
If you want to join,
TFAL.
let's do a
If you want to do
Filipino
our
dinner dance.
Yeah, if you want to be part of our dinner dance and want to buy ad space.
I want to see Ryan in a white tux with the gold cummerbund.
want to see Ryan in a white tie.
And the thing is, like, these associations are very, I don't say unique, but like, the variety of them, the diversity of these organizations, really happen in locales where there are a lot of Filipinos, like LA, the Bay, anywhere in California. If you go to like, Texas or I don't know. I went to Nebraska. There's actually just the Filipino Association of
Nebraska.
Omaha.
Oh.
Yeah.
Omaha?
Yeah. Or like the Filipino Association of Tampa, because there's not as many Filipinos, so like they're less likely to break off and form their own organization according to their interests. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say like in smaller Filipino populated areas, you actually see more organization or more organizing,
That makes
and you actually have more viable like community centers. Like I went to Juneau this past summer.
Juneau,
and-
like Juneau.
Juneau, Alaska.
Juno.
Juneau?
But you don't know.
Juno.
I was waiting for someone to say it.
And they had a long-standing like Filipino Community Center run by their association, dating back years, decades. So yeah, it's just but in LA, there's only like one really small community center. It's really not that big.
For dinner dances.
For dinner.
And the organization, it rhymes with bakla.
And moving on. I don't
Also rhymes with makla.
and takla.
And chankla.
And chankla.
Actually, Makla was the name of our hometown association.
What?
Yeah, Miagawana Association of California,
okay.
Los Angeles.
See?
Makla.
See?
Makla.
That's what I'm saying.
Incorporated? Makla.
No, I don't
And
know.
vicinity?
So our association should be TFAL Incorporated of Los Angeles and vicinity.
Right.
Can we get a certificate?
I'm the president of this Filipino American Life Association of the West San Fernando Valley and vicinity.
Oh my gosh. That means I am the co-president of this Filipino American Life Association of Historic Filipino Town with Mike.
And vicinity.
And vicinity.
Incorporated.
Incorporated.
I am the semi-co vice president.
Dude, one time I went to a meeting. I went to a community meeting, and there's I forgot the name of the volunteer organization that we work with in the valley, that our friend Max like introduced us to. Do you remember? No. Okay, you remember the name. But anyways, so I went to the community meeting, and we were doing introductions for the entire like room, and then there's like a row of all these
old timers,
old Filipino Americans, and they're all part of one association.
Do they say all their names?
Yeah, they say, "Oh, my name is blah blah blah. I am the secretary of the Filipino Association of blah blah." And then the next person goes, "Oh, my name is blah blah, and I am the sergeant at arms of the Filipino Association of." It's like everybody had like a title. Everybody was part of the association. It was pretty awesome.
All right. So our official titles then of our association.
I want to be sergeant at arms.
What does a sergeant in arms do?
They keep order of
In the meetings.
The meetings. My dad was a sergeant at arms, I think. Oh no, he might have been an
Pinoy's?
accountant. Maybe.
Oh, he's the treasurer.
He's a treasurer, I think. Actually, no, I don't remember.
Was he accused of embezzling then?
No.
That's usually what happens.
Shut your face.
Touchy subject.
All right,
Elaine.
never mind. But yeah, hometown associations.
Yeah, they're awesome. Do you think?
Do they still exist?
Yeah, do they?
So,
the ones
yeah.
that you're involved with.
Like, I mean, I brought Elaine to kind of like a couple meetings just here and there, just
It
because
was like the last
they're
one.
like, well, yeah, it was like family parties here and there, and it's like this, it's family. So, I think realizing that the few of them, of the younger folks who were still willing to kind of carry on the torch
to organize
and organize it, it was just way too much for them to kind of handle consistently, at least at the level that our parents would do it. And so, I mean, I don't know the exact status of it now, but I mean, like, obviously they're still like cousins and relatives and we still see them. But in terms of like an official organization, I just don't think, I don't know anybody else like of our generation, for example, that is like taking a leading role, on any of the hometown associations that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I think with our parents and our grandparents, like as they kind of move on or pass away or move back to the Philippines, as some do, those organizations might just disappear with them.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea if those three associations that I mentioned are still around. Like no clue.
I have a couple questions for you guys. How would you do it differently if you were going to start your own? And what have you learned from the associations that do exist? I know we've been laughing a lot, but I mean, there's a reason why they've kind of happened, and a lot of them were kind of happening. And Joe kind of touched upon like, the social aspect of it and the mission aspect of it. But what was good about them, and also how would you do it differently if you were to start one as a Filipino American?
So,
or would you even?
I feel like a lot of those things were created so that they could give back to their own communities, and I think we touched upon that. And like the leadership roles were one of them, but like it was always essentially like we're gonna raise money to give back, right? But for us, like me never having been to the Philippines, Department of Tourism, if you want to sponsor a trip, feel free to contact us. This Filipino American Life at gmail.com. I don't know what I would give back to, like my hometown is North Hills in the San Fernando Valley. So I would be giving back to North Hills in the San Fernando Valley. I'm like, I don't know if I need to do that.
Join neighborhood council. No, I'm just kidding.
Neighborhood Council in Historic Filipino Town?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
And I'm like, that seems like a lot of work, and I'm already doing a lot of other community work. But so that's the thing, like as an adult, no longer a young adult, someone in their 30s, it's kind of like my allegiances are really to like Los Angeles, and the energy that I would put into something like that I do with Film Arts, the Filipino American nonprofit that does arts and culture education in Los Angeles. So that's like in turn where my work, my energy goes to.
Yeah. And then like I also said, like a lot of these were formed because it was their own social world that they created because they were kind of isolated in work, or like they didn't have as much access to mainstream politics, mainstream culture as much as people who are our generation, second generation, were a little bit more acculturated into that world, mainstream political world. But like Elaine said, we're involved in nonprofit organizations that do a lot of work in the community. There's also organizations that do work like that help people in the Philippines. So people join that. And I think another thing is to answer some of these questions is I don't know if kind of younger immigrants, more recent immigrants do come, and what kind of social circles do they form, right? I know some people who, like some of my younger cousins or other cousins who just immigrated here, they just kind of form their own barcadas. One is involved with like Singles for Christ.
Oh, my cousins did Youth for Christ.
Something like
Couples for
that.
Christ.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And my other cousins, their whole social group is like just playing basketball, right? And they have their own. It's kind of they have their own parties,
Right.
for that. I don't know. It's gonna be elaborate as a dinner dance. I doubt it, but I think also like that type of organization, the one that do have dinner dances and have a little bit more time to do that, they could be a little bit like they're more maybe more well-to-do compared to maybe newer immigrants who are just starting out here and working more.
It takes a lot of capital to put together a dinner dance and whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like even printing tickets to sell costs money.
Right.
What do you think, Ray?
I think the need for it definitely gave us I'm going to use the word template, but a template to how to organize in a particular way. And I think the takeaways there is like, you can't, you kind of yearn for a mission and a purpose, especially for immigrants, right? You want to kind of give back to your homeland in some particular way. I love that part of it. I love the idea that there are folks who haven't forgotten that they are in fact immigrants and that they want to give back to their homeland. However, whatever capacity, whatever template they follow, right? And also just kind of navigating the system of what Robert's rules are or what's done in America or, navigating through this even the organizing part and having your own touch on it, whether it be the dress that you wear or the dances that you do. I think it fascinates me in a very funny way because there are things about it that I still cringe at. And like the pageantry, I still cringe at. I don't understand it. But at the same time, it's what we know. And then on the flip side, on the Filipino Americans, I totally get it, what you guys are saying. We're so involved in other things. And I wonder if there's something we can borrow from that in terms of giving back. And you're right. We don't, our hometown is here now, so the hometown association isn't necessarily kind of like our avenue to do that. But the organizing part, I think, is something that I would love to have carried on or be better at. Because, man, our aunties out there and our uncles and our titos who have done it, that's a large undertaking, and it's they're relentless.
Think about it. We come from like a culture of event planners.
Yeah.
Like event producers. Like putting on something like that is a big event. Like there's a reason why we gravitate towards the events and cultural things that we do because like
we love pageantry.
Apparently we like parades too and wearing white tuxedos with gold cummerbunds.
Wow, let it go already. Jeez.
We are all hams. Just a real quick funny story. When I went to my friend's parents are involved with the Filipino Hometown Association. It's called the Asingans Association of USA or something like that.
Always of USA.
Asingan. So, and then when we were at the dance part, one of the uncles
farted really loud.
One of the uncles was wearing a belt. And it had the scrolling, what's it called? Scrolling
The marquee?
Like the LED
marquees, yeah, the LED marquees
Oh
as
my God.
as a belt buckle.
Shut up.
Yes.
What did it say?
It said "Viva Asingans."
Yes.
And it was dancing and stuff. And it had a toupee.
Oh my God. God.
It was awesome.
Oh my God. Like when you were going with that, I was like, he had a belt and it was like a WWE wrestling belt. I'm like, good job, Uncle. But this LED scrolling screen.
Wow,
is
of course you
also
think a
amazing.
wrestling belt.
I mean,
The only person I know who would think that.
I also had like the LED fireworks like after we
So we have to have a TFAL Association party dinner dance, and one of you need to wear a belt buckle that says
Viva
Viva
TFAL.
TFAL, Viva TFAL Incorporated of Los Angeles and vicinity.
And Elaine will be our beauty queen.
I'll sell
every
enough
year.
tickets.
Every year, and Mike will be the escort.
White tux. White
I'll sing the
tux.
national anthem.
Oh, this sounds like the best party.
Yes, it'll just be all four of us. That's it.
It'll be in Joe's garage.
We should film it.
We should totally film it.
Dance, dance, dance.
And technically, our TFL patrons are part of our association.
There you go. Yeah.
So there you go. They paid a
You're
thing.
invited.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to another mini episode of TFAL. Hope you enjoyed this episode about Filipino associations. And
Remember to subscribe and rate us on iTunes. It helps people find us. We currently are at the time of this recording, 25 reviews. That doesn't mean we have like 25 like written reviews. It's like 25 people who put 5 stars. 5 stars, yo, 5 stars. And you can find us on all of the internets at TFL Podcast on Twitter. This Filipino American Life on Facebook. This FilipinoAmericanLife.com is our website.
And you can also be a Patreon if you want to contribute money to the production of our podcast and make sure that we provide quality programming and quality sound. And also for our website and to make sure that we're hosted, you can go on patreon.com/TFAL podcast.
And by doing that, you will join our TFAL Association Incorporated of Los Angeles and vicinity.
And you can sayaw, sayaw, sayaw with us.
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you. This Filipino American Life is produced by Michael Nailat. Our intro and outro music is by Roger Habon, aka 10.4 Raj. Resident reality checker Girly Colado, legal advisor Rianne Fajardo, and graphic design by Vincent Collyer.